Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Odoo Live Services. My name is Agustin,
And my name is Tahoe.
and today we're going to talk about inventory and manufacturing. We're going to answer questions about all those topics.
All right, so how it's going to work today, we're going to do a live Q&A with two certified Odoo consultants. We're going to talk about tips and tricks that you won't find in the documentation, and also do demos on standard databases in the latest version. We'll also answer functional and technical questions, but if there are any complex questions that require deeper analysis, you can always buy a success pack to get those questions answered for you. There's going to be multiple questions at the same time, so we'll start from the simplest questions as well.
And just a little reminder, we're going to have another Odoo Live session for the US payroll. It's going to be on June 24th and at 11 a.m. It's going to be amazing. Please join us.
All right, perfect. With that being said, let's go jump in to our database and just talk about a first question that we'll go over. So, Augustine, do you want to read the question for me?
Sure. So there's a question regarding the food industry. So they work with expiry dates in food. Can I set a lot tracking per product and pull a full traceability report that shows the customer and supplier? How fast can I trace a lot end to end?
Yeah, absolutely. So a few things that we will do before we get into that is let me open up the settings in our inventory app. And I'm going to go down, and from here you can start typing in lots. So here we want to make sure that we have lots and traceabilities. If you're in the settings, one fun thing you can do is if you click on the question mark, it's going to bring you to the documentation, and you can learn more about that specific function in the settings. And the next step is we want to make sure that our expiration dates are set there as well. So now we can go in, now that we have those two settings enabled, we can go into our products. And let me create a new product for an apple. And this apple, I want to make sure that I'm tracking the inventory and I'm tracking it by lots. From there, I'm going to go to the inventory section. And here you can see under the traceability tab, I have an expiration date. So I can check that off. And then here I can set my expiration date. So days after receipt, best before date, remove date, alert date, you have all these different options over here. I'm going to just say that this apple expires 7 days after the receipt. So now that I save that, I can go up here into my general information tab and do a few things that will make this easier. So what I can do is I can set the cost. Let's say this apple is 75 cents. And just for an example, I'll sell it for $1.50. All right, so now that we have all of that saved, I'm going to go to my purchase tab, and I'm going to buy this from my produce vendor. Since I don't have this produce vendor, I can create them directly from the request for quotation, RFQ, and then here I can add my Apple product. And here I'm going to buy 10 of them at 75 cents, which will give me the total, including a 15% tax there as well. So once I click on confirm, what that is going to do is going to trigger a receipt. So I can go into the receipt here directly from my purchase order, or I could view that on the inventory page into my receipts here. And we can check on the last one here, which has our source document. That is our purchase order. So once I go here, I click on the details page, and this is where I'm able to set the lot and serial number. So here you can see the expiration date, 7 days from today, and it also has the removal date there as well. So I can either create my own lot number here, I can generate a lot number, or I can import a lot and serial number. For this example, I'll just go ahead and click generate, click on new, and that's just going to give me a lot number. And then I'm going to generate that, save it, and then I will validate this as well. And now up here, I can see on the traceability tab here, I can see my traceability here. So I see that I received this product in warehouse receipt 15. Here's the date, here's the lot number from my vendor to my stock, and how many units I received there as well. Here also, any of these buttons that are green here, I can go in and click on those directly. So if I wanted to click on the produce vendor, I can see all of the different tabs that I have here on the product or the contact page, which I can go back and view that receipt and that purchase order as well. So hopefully that answers the question on how you can see the traceability of a lot number. And also to view all your lots, you go in the products page or inventory page, click on products and then lots and serial numbers. And then here you can see all your different lots and serial numbers. Awesome.
Perfect. Thank you, Tahoe.
Yeah.
So please send us all your questions on the chat in YouTube. It's going to be very important for us because we're going to answer all of those or most of those. So the first one that we're going to, the one that we're going to continue is from I am Joy. Why, when we create a production order and have all the components available, does Odoo consume more products than expected? So let's go deeper with that one. If we go to a manufacturing order and we set, for example, any product with a bill of material, let's create a quick one. Let's check if we have a bill of material available. Let's say customizable desk, probably. No.
Let's go to our bill of
Let's check the
materials.
bill of materials, desk combination. We have those products and we have one quantity for each component. So let's add that one to a manufacturing order. Perfect. So the way that Odoo works is to have a flexible consumption since Odoo 19, and this is very important. Odoo is going to try to, or is expecting to consume the total quantities to be consumed, but then once you confirm the production order, Odoo is going to consume it. But you can change the quantities. If you want, maybe let's click on confirm, for example. And let's say that we are consuming, for example, instead of one, we want to consume two, which is fine. Another is going to create the stock move line, which is the final movement that is going to validate the quantities that you consume. So it's completely doable. If you find any unexpected behavior, it's probably because Odoo is trying to find more components to be consumed. But in reality, the demand is coming from the manufacturing order itself before it's confirmed. Okay? Thank you for the question, by the way. Let's continue with the next one.
Okay, so we have one here from Alfred who's asking about the reference fields. They're saying that the reference field is like the part number on other systems. So that's correct, yeah. So the reference field here is a way that you can create the another way that you can search for the product in various places. You can also think of it, some people maybe use it as a SKU number, and you can think of it as, yeah, the part number if you want to as well. So you'll see what happens if I put 123 as a reference and I save that. Up here you'll see 123 for the apple. And let's say I'm going to a purchase order and I want to purchase the apples again. Let's go back to our produce vendor. And instead of searching for apple like I did before, I can go and I can just search for 123 and that's going to give me the apple. So that's what the reference field is like. And you can also do that in many different places on sales orders, purchase orders. If I go to the list of products, I can also search for 123 for the product and I'll get my apple there. Thank you so much for the question.
So let's continue with another one from Alfredo Galvan. And how do we see a product listing report with part number and description? Good question. So if you go to the product list, which you can find it basically anywhere, in sales, in inventory, in purchase, you can change the view to the list view. And from here, you're going to have the product name, the internal reference, the cost, and some other details. But also, if you go to the top right corner, you're going to find other fields that you can set for this view. For example, responsible, tag, barcode, and some other things. There's another thing that is very important is to add a custom field. If you click there in add a custom field, you're going to be able to use Studio and to grab the field to this particular list view. Okay? So thank you for the question. Remember that all the lists and all the views in Odoo are customizable if you have Odoo Studio.
Yeah, just keep in mind that Odoo Studio comes with our custom plan. All right, so our next question is any improvements on allocating individual serial numbers when executing a MO? For example, entering serial numbers individually after completion or having a specific type of control point. Yeah, so we can allocate individual serial numbers. And in my head, the best way to do that would be in two-step manufacturing, because there, if I go into my warehouse, and I go into my products here, I'm going to enable two-step manufacturing. What this setting basically says is that I pick components and then manufacture steps. So that makes sense because you'll see when we create a manufacturing order, and we can actually create a new bill of material. And I'll actually just use this one again. And just for ease of this, I'm just going to use two components. I'm going to go here and set this to be by unique serial number. And I'll just save that. And let me just go in and add a serial number here. Okay, perfect. And great. Okay. And now we'll go in and I'll create a manufacturing order for this, for our desk combination. And now I have the product here as well. So when I confirm, I'll have a transfer first. So your question about allocating individual serial numbers during the manufacturing process can be done best through this way. So here, instead of just creating a regular manufacturing order where you confirm and then produce all, when you have two-step manufacturing, you have to go and actually pick the components. So what this is saying here is that we're going to go to our source location, which is in our warehouse stock, and we're going to move all these products from our shelves into our pre-production location where we'll be doing the manufacturing. So here you have the details where you can go and pick the specific products and everything that you want to add there, and make sure that you have the products there as well. And that's going to add the specific lot and serial numbers that you want to as well. Once you're completing the manufacturing order, you'll be able to see the full overview and the traceability, similar to what we saw with the lots and serial numbers. And then to answer the question about a control point, you can do that by creating a quality control, and you can create a control point here as well. So what you can do here, there's various different ways to do this. I'll just do a basic pass or fail. So this is going to be QC check, for example. You can do it on the product, or you can do it on the specific operation. So here, if I make this say manufacturing, this is going to change it and say that this quality check is going to be on my manufacturing orders. Or I could do it on a specific product. If there's a product that you want to check for, then you can do it that way as well, or a product category here. The control frequency is the other option that you can do there as well, where you can select maybe all randomly periodically. For this example, we'll just do all manufacturing orders need to do a pass or fail. You also have a bunch of different other options there, but for this, we'll just do a pass or fail. And we'll also do it per product here as well. So if I go back to the manufacturing and operations and manufacturing orders, let's just say that I'm going to cancel this one and I'm going to duplicate it, and we're just going to do this one again. So here you'll see you have a you have a quality check, which you can check off, and then you can do a pass or fail quality check, and then you can write the notes. Passed there, for example, or any different notes that you want to as well there. Awesome. So that's how you do the allocations for serial numbers, and also adding a quality check as well.
Amazing. Thank you, Tajo. So let's continue with the next one. Let's say this one, if I have an ingredient with two different lot numbers and different expiry dates, do I have to create separate products? No, not really. Let's take a look. So let's use the one that Tajo used it before when he purchased the product with expiration dates. So let's go there. Let's click on that one and let's duplicate it. Let's make it super quick. So click on duplicate and there you go, and then confirm the order. So as you already know, Odoo already has a 7 days expiration date, if I'm not wrong.
Right.
But we can go to the receipt And from here, in the detail operations, we can we can change the removal date and the expiration date from here. So maybe it's not gonna be on June 17. Maybe it's gonna be on June 19, and we can set it to. So the expiration date on the product, if we set it as a default on the product, is gonna be only a default. You can always change it. So no, you don't need two products. You just need to change it when the product is coming to the Odoo database.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so if we're doing order picking, when we're scanning the picked items and referring the order picked, if you're showing wrong item, can Odoo do this? So we don't have a barcode scanner, but we can walk through just a quick demo of what that would look like. So we can use that same let me actually go back to our products here. And one other step that we need to do for their configuration, if we want to do a barcode for the Apple, I'm going to add my barcode as just a product reference as well. And what we'll do is go into our barcode scanner. I'll go into my operations. I will go into my receipts. So we want to use a barcode to receive that purchase order. And then here we can go into that receipt there. And what I do now is I would scan the product barcode, but if I don't have a barcode scanner, I can also click the gear icon there and then enter a barcode. Now I'm going to click 456, which is the wrong barcode. And what that's going to do is say that this product does not exist. So that is something that Odoo can handle, and it will basically not allow you to choose the wrong product because it's not on this item, but you could add a product there as well, which case you can select the product or you could scan it in through the barcode scanner.
Perfect. Thank you, Tajo. So let's continue with the next one. We have several questions regarding lot numbers in manufacturing orders. So let's go deeper there. So let's go to any product that we have. Let's go to, I don't know, the one that we have the bill of materials set. We can go to products, bill of materials, sorry. And let's take a look on the tabletop, for example. So the tabletop, we can go inside that product and then change, for example, oh, by the way, we have the by unique serial number of the tabletop. So that one is the one that we're gonna use. So we already have the bill of materials. So let's create a manufacturing order. Click on operations, manufacturing orders, great. And then click on new, and then let's select that one. So Odoo is gonna select by itself the bill of materials that we had before. So let's click on confirm. And since the product is already set to be traced as with serial numbers, Odoo is telling me, okay, so since you're gonna have it in your stock on hand, you can generate, or you need to generate the serial number. And we have a big purple icon there. So let's click on generate serial number. And there you go. It's pretty easy. Odoo give us the serial number 0003, which is the one that is the next sequence. So we are just gonna produce all, and that's all. So there's other questions regarding what about the sub-assemblies if we have sub-assemblies that also needs serial numbers, or maybe components are also needs serial numbers. So it's pretty easy. Every manufacturing order that contains a product that needs to be traced with serial numbers or by lots, we're going to have this field, lot and serial number, to set the serial number here. Also, if we have a product as a component that needs to be used in the production order, in the details part, we're going to realize that we can check also the lot and serial number. In this particular case, this component, the wood panel, is traced only vast quantity, so we don't have it. But if we have a component that is needed as a unique or serial number, you can set it here too. Perfect. Thank you for your question. Let's continue.
Awesome. Okay, so I've seen this in companies where another question from I'm Joy C. I've seen this in companies that use different units of measure, not just units, but also pounds, liters, boxes of 100 units. The bill of material states that for each unit of finished product, 1 pound should be consumed, but Odoo ends up consuming 1.03 pounds. And of course, this gradually reduces the stock. So Yep, that can be correct. Just for sake of this, let me go back to our warehouse configuration and we can maybe change it to just be one-step manufacturing for now. Oh, and we won't be able to do that because we already have inventory there. But remember when you're doing the manufacturing orders, the only amount that you'll have in the or the only amount that you'll produce is whatever you set on the quantity. So this would only be 1.03 if this was set. You can consume more or less, as Augustine answered a little earlier, as well. But you are going to be setting the quantity to produce in this section over here. And one thing I can just talk about is the units of measure. And for that, you can go and you can see on the product here and on the, let's go to our settings and make sure we have units of measure enabled. Here we go, units of measure and packaging. And remember, in settings in Odoo, this is the only place where you have to always save. If I don't save this, then my changes won't be made, but the rest of Odoo you can automatically save just by leaving the page. But let me go to my units and packaging here. And here, this is where you can create your units of measure. So I like the idea, especially for apples, let's just say dozens. And we're going to change this to be, instead of 1, we're going to have this be 12 units. So this is our reference. So whenever we have dozens, it's going to be 12 units. So I can save that. I can go on my product page in my apples. If I go to my purchase tab here, I can also create a line for my produce vendor as well. And I can change this to be 1 dozen. And this is going to be, I can also do equals 75 times, let's just do 10.
We had a discount.
Yeah, we have a discount.
Great.
Exactly. We like our produce vendor. They're really good to us. And then we're going to go into our purchase and I can create a new one for, again, our produce vendor. And I'll add our apple product. And instead of buying 1 unit, I'm going to actually buy 1 dozen. And now you can see that changes. And let's see what happens when we go through and receive those. So on my confirm order, what do you think we're going to see on our receipt here?
I don't know. Maybe the 12 apples.
Exactly.
Great.
So Odoo automatically does that calculation for us and gives us the 12 units that we have because of our units in packaging, which again, you can set on your, and here, again, another great thing about Odoo, because we define that this is tracked by lot and serial number, we cannot validate without setting that. So we'll add this and I'll generate, and I'll just create, this is going to be lot 001, for example, and then I'll validate that. And now that is in our inventory. And if I go look at the product page, I can see the on-hand amount. I can go up here to our forecast. And here I can see we have 22 on hand. Awesome.
Cool. Thank you, Tajo.
Yeah.
So let's continue with the next one. Somebody asked us also, what if I have two or more bill of materials on the same product? Can I choose one or the other depending on of what I want to do? And the answer is yes. Let's go and take a look. So we're going to use the same product, the tabletop that we used before. So let's go to bill of materials and now click on that one on tabletop, and then let's duplicate this one. So we're going to have two different bill of materials. On this one, we're going to add a new product, a new component, for example. Let's say that we're going to add some screws. So let's find the screws. Great. And let's say that we need how many? Maybe 10?
10 sounds good.
Perfect. So now we have two different bill of materials for the same product. So let's save it. And now let's go to operations and then let's find the tabletop. Click on new, tabletop. And from here, yeah, perfect. Odoo is going to give me the first one, the first bill of material that we have on the list of the products on the bill of materials. But we can also change it. How? We just need to delete that one and change to the next one. And now I have the 10 screws. So it's completely possible. Thank you for the question, by the way.
Yeah, and one other thing to add to that as well on the bill of material, if we click on the internal link, one good thing you might want to do is just maybe rename this as well, which you can change on the reference there as well. So we can make this one just say screws, and that makes it a lot easier when you're choosing the option here. So now we can see this one has screws. And you could also change that to be whatever number you might want as well.
Perfect. And also another important thing that if we have time, we're going to watch it. You can use this logic for the PLM app. The PLM app is going to give you the possibility to have different versions of the bill of material depending on time, depending if there's some changes, if you want to delete something or add something in the components. So you can use also the PLM app, which is super, super good.
Yes, exactly. Okay, let's go on to our next question. The in the inventory, if you have a multi-warehouse location, how to automate the creation of delivery orders from a reception order between different warehouses. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's go to our inventory app and let's create a new warehouse here. So let's just keep this as warehouse 2. I'm going to change the shorthand to be warehouse 2 here. And I'm going to save this. So, yeah, a few different ways you can do that. And depending on the option here, one way you could do that is create put away rules. So basically what this is saying, if you follow the path up here, when a product arrives in, let's just say warehouse shock stealth 2, for all products, you should store it in shock stealth 2 or sublocations. So if you have multiple locations, we can say for warehouse stock, let's do this. For our apples, they always should go in shelf 2. And this way you can go and change it, which you could also do by product or by product category, and you can store it to your different location as well. So if I go in and let's do another purchase order, again, for our apples that we want to say that it should store in shelf 2, but we want to do that whenever it arrives in our warehouse stock. So let me go to a purchase order and let's go and do the same thing here as well, except this time we're going to receive 2 dozen. I'll confirm this. And then in my receipt here, this is where I would go and I can validate this. This is going to be receiving in our stock. And I didn't apply a serial number. Let's generate. And then I'll save that. And then I'm going to go ahead and validate this. And now this is moved. And I can go to my moves list here. I can see that it actually, instead of going to warehouse stock, it went into our shelf 2 there. So that's how you do that in multi-locations there as well. And multi-warehouse as well, you can do it in a similar way too, or resupplying from a different warehouse. One warehouse can be supplied by a different one, or you could buy to resupply. This one you can choose supply from warehouse 2, or maybe for our second warehouse, we want to do that where we supply from our first warehouse. And let me just update our warehouse name just so it's a little easier to see. We'll just call this warehouse 1. Cool. Awesome. Thank you for that question as well.
Perfect. So let's continue with another one. The question is, how can we use a dynamic BOM for scenarios where a product uses a one-off BOM for each order, and the product is adjusted based on the client's needs at time of order? Good. So the same logic as the last question that I answered is going to be useful for this. Let's go to products and then bill of materials. So in the you're in inventory. Let's go to manufacturing. Let's go to products and then bill of materials. And from here we have the tabletops that we added as a bill of materials. So let's imagine that this one is my default bill of material, and every customer is going to change the total components that we are going to need For example, maybe they want to add some colors, maybe other components. So it's pretty easy to handle it, and let's take a look how we can do it. Let's go, for example, to let's create a new bill of material. Let's click on new, and let's say that we're gonna use it for a specific customer. We're gonna create a product called custom product, maybe. Good, perfect. And instead of manufacture this product, we're gonna use the kit one. So let's click on kit, and from here we're gonna add the components. So this particular bill of material are gonna be the changes that the customer wants to apply for the default tabletop. So let's add some other components. Let's add maybe some stools. I don't know, maybe another things.
Let's
A
add
bolt.
a
Yeah, there
green
you
and
go.
a navy one.
Yeah, perfect. So that works. So in the reference, we can, for example, say the customer's name. Let's say John Doe customer. Perfect. Thank you, Tahoe. So let's go and click on operations and then manufacturing. Perfect. So let's click on new and then let's select the tabletop. Perfect. So we have the wood panel, and in the bottom part on the components, we can add the custom product. Let's see what happens. There you go. So since this product was a kit, let's click on confirm. There you go. So now we have the components that specific bill of materials that we had for this customer wants. So we can continue working with the same logic with all the different bill of materials or different scenarios that the customer wants. So kits, remember, are not specifically for manufacturing. A kit is a group of products that we can use, for example, for a sale order, maybe for manufacturing, and it's very useful in these cases. Thank you for the question.
Perfect. And it looks like we have another question that's similar to that as well. How can we use a dynamic BOM for scenarios where a product uses one-off BOMs for each order and the BOM is adjusted based on the client's needs at the time of
Exactly.
order? Yeah. So that's very much similar case. In Odoo, what we would do and what we kind of call that is a phantom BOM.
Correct.
So we can create that. Let's just do our custom product again. And this one, we're going to leave the components blank. So whenever someone is purchasing this product here, you can always say, let's just say Abigail Peterson is buying our custom product. And if you click this drop down here, you can enter any details because this is going to change every single time. So this is going to be anything that you want to add there. And when you hit confirm, you have the delivery, and you can also create the manufacturing order for that. And on the manufacturing order there, whenever you have a manufacturing order, you can always add the different materials that you want every single time for those products. So it will change every time you're creating a phantom BOM there.
Perfect. So as you can see, you have different ways to handle the phantom bombs, or also the specific scenarios where the customer wants some customization, some other components, and you can add it probably as a phantom bomb, or you can add it as a kit, as a component.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's continue. Let's see. One identical product has three vendors. I think that we didn't answer, right?
No.
They are on the shelf and might have different prices. How do I identify scanning the item the customer brought to the checkout counter? There is not price on it. So the products are identical. So you have, well, I'm going to say the most standard one. The most standard one is that since those are identical, but those are not the same product. So that's very important to understand. So since you have different stock on hand, maybe you have a different cost, and you might have different price, that product is particular unique. So you need to create more than one product. Okay, that's most logical way to find a solution on this one. Tajo, do you want to add something else regarding this one?
Yeah, I think that is an excellent way to go about it. Like if you have just apples and you want to define it, you can maybe do, red or green apples.
Yeah.
We can also get into attributes and variants, but it might be easier, as Augustine is saying, is to create two different products that have two different barcodes. Barcode field in Odoo always needs to be unique, so you can never have the same barcode. So if you are using a barcode scanner, that's probably the easiest way to do it, is have two separate products with two different barcodes, and then you can update that there as well. I think similarly on the question, there was also a question about the vendor side of it too here. So you can also have the vendor product code can be two different product codes as well. So that you can also define products by vendor code. But I think the best way to do it would be to create a duplicate product and give it a different name. So I'm just going to say that this is a red apple.
One. Good.
Yeah. And then I'm going to choose a different barcode. I'm going to do 456. So now if I were to use my barcode scanner and I scan the barcode for 456, then I would get this product versus the regular Apple product, which is a barcode 123.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. Let's continue with the next one, Tajo.
Okay, perfect. What is the process to submit new feature requests in the coming version of Odoo? That's a great question. So the process would be, if you have anything that you want to improve or any issues that you've had, one thing you can do is create a support ticket by going to odoo.com/support. And you can talk to them there and asking the question about what type of features that you want, but also explaining it in a way where you're defining what the business use case is. That's very important for us to make sure that we are trying to solve an issue that maybe a lot of people are having, or just yourself as well, and submitting the request there. You can create a ticket, or you could use our AI help, and you can also reach out to our live chat. But for submitting a new feature request, that's most likely best done through just submitting a support ticket.
Perfect. Thank you. So let's continue reading your questions. Thank you, guys. We have some pending questions
There's
to
a lot
answer.
coming up. Yeah.
So let's take a look super quick. Give me one sec. If I have an ingredient with two different lot numbers and apply, no, that one we already answered it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me go back to this one because I think
Yeah,
this
the
is
UPC
the follow-up.
code
UPC
is the same
code
one.
is the
Yeah.
same on all three products, but they came from different vendors with three different prices. So if you're doing something like that, again, I think the process to track the product by lots or by unique serial number would be the best way to solve that.
Correct.
If you want to have different products and you need to really define which ones you're using because maybe different vendors have different quality, or you want to use a special vendor, then I would define that by lots or by serial numbers. And then from there, when you're receiving the products like we have been doing before, let's see if we have any receipts here for our produce vendor. On the details here, you can maybe change the lot number so that it's, vendor A, and then you add the lot number 001, so that when you go in and I validate this, and then I can look at my products and my traceability, I can see that my lot is for vendor A. And then when I'm doing this on a delivery, let's say we sell some apples to Abigail again. I can go ahead and confirm this. On my delivery here, on the details page, automatically it's going to go through just first in, first out FIFO reservations. But here I can see my vendor A. So this is the one that I want to choose, and I would do it that way. So you could either do that through serial numbers or through lots. I guess a question on that as well would be what is the difference between a serial number and a lot? Well, a serial number can only be one number per quantity. So for this example, or for one of our previous ones where we had to receive 12 apples, we would need to create 12 different lot numbers, or serial numbers rather. And for lots, we can generate a lot number for all 12 of those apples. So this way, is creating the products and having different serial numbers.
Cool,
So
but Tajo, what if they don't have serial numbers? Is there any other way to have this solved?
I mean, yes, there's a few different ways, and I'll just disable that as well. It depends what exactly you're doing. The difference now, and let's see if there's any follow-ups with that as well. All three products are exactly identical. They don't have different serial numbers. So I guess and this is for Crew USA. Um, I guess there would be a few more follow up questions I'd ask to really kind of define what you want in this use case. In which case, again, I would probably go through a success pack. But in my head, the way that I'm understanding this question, I would actually change that to not track by quantity, but track by lot, so that you know the difference between the three different products that are coming from three different vendors.
Correct. One of the most common ways to handle this is that in the lot number you can set the vendor's name, for example, or
Mm.
any sequence or any ID, for example, that you can say, okay, this product is coming from this particular vendor. And since then we already have the traceability of the product, we can change, for example, the sales price and everything.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And that also works well if you're using a barcode scanner. You can scan first the product, which would just be 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
and then it also forces you to scan the lot number as well. So there you're making sure you have extra traceability and you're clearly defining which lot number you're using for that.
Cool. Thank you,
Awesome.
Tajo.
Yeah.
So let's continue with the next one. How to create an internal transfer when we have multi-company setup, also multi-warehouse for each company. So let's go to the standard and the most easiest way. So in the inventory app, we already have all the operations set. And here we have the internal transfers. So remember that in this particular database, we already have two warehouses. So let's go to the warehouse one internal transfer. Let's click there. Let's open and let's click on new. From here, we have the contact. Maybe we can add a contact. It's completely optional, but it can be, for example, your employee or someone that is going to be responsible of this particular internal transfer. And then we have the operation type. The operation type is going to force or tell us which one is the source location and the destination location. But remember that we can always change the source location and the destination location if we need it. So in this particular case, we want to change the destination location. For example, let's click there and then let's search more. And then here we have all the other different warehouses that we have on the system. So in this particular case, we already have warehouse to stock. So let's click there, and then let's add a product. So let's say
We know we have
apples.
some apples
Yeah,
in there.
let's
Yeah.
yeah. Let's change the demand to 4 or maybe 5. Yeah, there you go. And then mark as to do. So this is a transfer that we are not going to use a delivery and a receipt itself in both warehouse. We're just going to take the apples and send it to the warehouse too. So we just need to click on validate and we are done. And
Let me just
remember
make sure.
that since this product has a lot, Odoo is going to give us the lot that we have as on hand. So it was the 001
Yeah.
and Odoo got it on the pick from. So let's validate and we're done. So remember that the operation types are going to tell us possibly the source location and the destination location, but we can always change it. And this is super good because we don't need to have tons and tons of different operation types. We just need to understand how this works in general. Thank you for the question.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. So, one question we have for internal transfers, but the source location is only listed for the one company. Yeah, so that's a follow up to the one we are just doing.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's because in this database right now, we only have one company here. Or, I mean, we can go through our second one as well and just define the different warehouse here. So the reason why you're only seeing one company is because we didn't have a warehouse defined. So let's just say we're doing our US warehouse here. I can save this. There's one other setting that I'd like to change to make sure that we have this set up and configured properly. So if we want to do multi-company changes as well, one thing that makes it really easy is to check off this intercompany transactions here. So I'm just going to save this and it's going to bring me back. And this will allow us to define the different companies and how we want to do this on the transfers and the transactions. So here I can go through, you can synchronize your stock moves and you can create as Odoo bot and define whether it's draft or validated. This basically means if I create a PO in one company and
Am I
receive
going
it
to
in the
receive
other
a
one.
sales order if you create a PO? Oh,
Exactly.
that's great.
Yeah. So we just will check off these options here, and I'll also check off the stock, the sales orders, all of that as well. If you leave these blank, it's going to populate that automatically for us. And what I'll do just to make sure that we have this set up well again is I'm going to go into
The second
our
one.
second one and make sure we have those same configurations there as well. Intercompany transactions, and we're going to create all of this here for us as well again. Okay, so my company, this is the one that has all of our stock in there. So let's go into my company US. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a purchase order because I want the products to come in here from my company US. So here I'm going to choose my company, my US company as my vendor. And I'll add some more apples. And I'm just going to do one for right now. And what I'm going to do is just confirm the purchase order. And now I have the receipt that's waiting for me to get that in there. So just remember that this is waiting and we don't have anything in here. We're in our waiting status here. Now, let me go into my company and let's go into our sales. I'm going to click and get rid of the my quotations filter here. And we should have the transaction there. Let me just go to my deliveries as well, or to deliver, and let's just double check that we had the settings correct and just see.
Purchases.
And it's created as a draft. And I'm going to go back to my purchase order here just to make sure I chose the correct company. Okay, so here's the issue. I put the company that I'm currently in as the vendor there. So I'm buying from myself, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So let me redo that. And this one is not going to be my US company, but just my company San Francisco, which is our other one that we want to receive from. So here I'm going to confirm it. Again, we're waiting. And then let's go into my company San Francisco. And if I go back into my sales order, let me just make sure I have that one set. I get rid of that. Here you can see that this automatically created a sales order for me. So all I have to do as the other company is click on confirm. And I see that in the chat, you helped us out by mentioning that we made the PO for the same company. So great catch there as well. So now if I go in the delivery, I'll go ahead and make sure we have the products there. We're still using our lot 1 because we still have inventory of that left, and I'll validate that. And let me just go back to our company, and I'll go, instead of going from our purchase app, I'll go directly into our inventory app, and I'll go to my receipts here, and then I'll have my receipt here. Let's just go and see everything that's waiting, and I'll just look at it from our purchase order here. And on our receipt here, now you can see instead of waiting, it's now ready because it has been validated in our other company. So now I can validate that, and now that is in our inventory there. And it came from my company San Francisco into my company US. Awesome. Thank you for the multi-company question. I'll just check us back in the other one, our main one there.
Perfect. So we have another one. Why Odoo allows you to put two products with the same serial number into different locations? I mean, I think that the serial number has to identify uniquely my product in the inventory. Yeah, you're right. By itself, the serial numbers are well, the purpose of the serial numbers is to have a unique number per product. So that's the first part. If you try it, let's go, for example, to purchase, and let's grab some products that we have with serial numbers. I don't remember which one. Apples, right?
Apples, yeah. Apples we have lots.
Okay,
Which
we
can
have lots.
we can create a new
Yeah,
product
let's
as
create
well.
a new product super quick. Let's
Let's
add
do the red apples and make that
perfect.
one by serial number.
Amazing. Good. So we have one, which is fine. Let's keep the unit price. There you go. And then let's click on confirm order and let's go to the receipt. So the receipt is going to let us know that we need to have a serial number. So let's go to details and let's put the serial number. Let's say 123. Perfect. So let's save it. Amazing. Let's validate it and it's valid. So let's try it again. Let's duplicate this PO and let's make the exact same process. Confirm order and then receipt and then details and then let's try to put the same one. Save. And there you go. Serial number 123 already exists in location warehouse stock. Please correct the serial number encoded. So Odoo is giving us a big warning about it. So let's try to close it. Let's close and then let's go to store 2 in the columns that you have there. Let's click there and then let's change it to for example shelf 2, let's say, and then let's click on save. There you go, and then validate. Perfect. So you need to be aware that Odoo is watching the location itself if you have the serial number with that specific product. Odoo is allowing you to do this particular case, but remember, the main purpose of the serial numbers is to always go inside the same location to review that the serial number is unique on in that particular location. That is your first step on the receipt process. So careful with that. That's a good catch, and thank you for your question.
Awesome. And we have some questions here that look like they're kind of talking about work centers and operations in there. So we can maybe just go through quickly and kind of give a really broad overview. So I know, Miguel, you had a bunch of questions in there. We probably won't get to all of them, but we can just talk about work centers and what they are in Odoo there as well. So here we have our work centers. There's 3 that was already created here with our demo data, where you can set the work center name, the working hours, which company you're using it for, and all of the different general information that you want to have here as well. And you can also look at the product capacities here. So if you had a certain capacity, like you can only handle 20 units at a time, then you can set it up there, while also defining the setup and cleanup time there as well. In the top here, you can also see some different smart buttons that you can do. So you can go into the operations where you can see all of the operations that this work center is assigned to. So here we can see for the manual assembly, for the tabletop BOM, it's taking 60 minutes and the different instructions that you have there as well. So on the bill of materials, let's go back to our tabletop one. On the operations, it's all defined in minutes. But if you wanted to do in seconds here, you can change this 00 and have this be for 25 seconds. You can have it set there as well. So you have the minutes on the left-hand side and then the seconds over there as well. And you can do it based on actual time, theoretical time, and you can define whether it's on variance or anything like that. So I think that kind of covers most of the questions for that particular one.
I think so, yeah.
100, yeah. Okay. All right, great. So yeah, you can do it by seconds and also in minutes minimum for that process as well. Okay. Awesome. I think we have all the questions answered.
I think so,
that we
yeah.
were going through.
It
Yeah.
was a nice exercise
Yeah,
today.
very, very fun today. And so we can go through, and if you have any additional questions, remember that your documentation is a great resource as well. And you can also join us next week for payroll. And feel free to also look at our success packs as well if you want further information to work with a dedicated BSA on your project. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. And I hope you have a rest of your day.
Thank you so much, guys, for everything, and see you in the next one.
Yes. Thank you.